And so when I won SGA president at the end of my sophomore year, I was elated and exhausted. I was really, really tired because I had worked every single angle. And I knew when the election came in that I had put everything out there. And I felt so blessed that when you win SGA president at the time, and I think it's still true, that you go on full scholarship. But becoming president of the student government was so unique in so many ways. One, I had a chance to have a monthly meeting with the president of the university, Herman James. And if you're, for those who remember, he was famous for his ties, his Peanuts ties. So here's a man with a PhD, president of a university. You would expect someone of that stature to be unapproachable. Dr. James was the 180 of that. Complete human being. And what I found fascinating with Dr. James is that on one side, he understood these complex subjects, university vision, how do we deal with the government in Trenton, how do we fundraise, the operations of a university, working with the board of trustees. And at the same time, he's walking around as a human being wearing these ties. The story behind this particular tie, and I'm very proud of, is that in 1994, I think it's called Holiday Helper now, but at the time it was called Project Santa. Dr. James had donated a couple of ties to the auction, which we ended up raising money for the Big Sisters and Big Brothers of Gloucester County. And it was Ed Streb who auctioned this tie off. And I bought it. And the administration knew that I would show up to every board meeting and represent the students. And so the next board meeting, I wore this tie. And I talked about how Dr. James was helping me accessorize at the time. What I enjoyed about our monthly meetings was that we'd talk basketball. We'd talk about our families. And he was genuinely interested in the students. He was genuinely interested in what the concerns were and what was possible and what wasn't possible. Certain university presidents take an ivory tower approach. Dr. James was anything but that. I met Mr. Rowan and Mrs. Rowan in my student government office when I was a president my junior year. And I guess my first impressions of him was there was a way that he carried himself. He had almost perfect posture all the time. And when he walked with intention. When he spoke with intention. And when he said something, he meant it. And so I remember meeting with him in my student government office. I said, I'd love to get some time with you. And here I have a letter, essentially saying, Jason, let's get some time on the calendar. So back then, you would either do phone calls or letters, and he was essentially writing to me and saying, this is, one of my treasures, December 20th, 1995. Dear Jason, thank you for the card and pictures. It was nice having the opportunity to meet you while you were on campus. And this is something he was always very complimentary. You can be very proud of your accomplishments and proud to have been selected president of the Student Government Association. You should go far in the business world if you keep applying the same energy to the challenges that you will meet after you leave school. I would be delighted to visit further during the coming year. Why don't you give me a call if you are free, and we can see if you can arrange the time. Best of luck in your remaining college days and in your chosen career. Sincerely, Henry M. Rowan. I mean, how amazing as a college student to get a letter like that from Mr. Rowan. So, of course, I made a phone call and drove up to his offices in Rancocas. And he was interested in me. He was really interested in me. And then I was like, well, tell me more about Inductotherm. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, Jason, let me tell you how we hire. We hire on attitude. We hire on attitude. We can train the rest. If you don't have the right attitude, you're not going to work here. And I never forgot that. I never forgot that there was such an energy in him And you could see why he had built Inductotherm to the size that it was. I met with Mr. Rowan over a 2-year period, probably 5 or 6 times in his offices. And to have a front row seat to the person whose name bears this university was special, very, very special. He always had time for me, for a student, and so much so that in my senior year, we brought him to campus and we made him an honorary member of the student government. And we brought him to in front of everybody, and we had, when you say the whereas and whereas, and because he really cared about how things were evolving on campus. So I feel lucky that that was something that we were at least able to give back to him. So Mr. Rowan, rest in peace, but he's still an honorary member of the student government.